and welcome everyone. I thought it would be good today to read the Lakota prayer. Sundance is on currently, and just been thinking a lot about some of my friends that are part of the Sundance. O great spirit, whose voice I hear in the wind, whose breath gives life to the world, hear me. I come to you as one of your many children. I am small and weak. I need your strength and wisdom. May I walk in beauty. Make my eyes behold the red and purple sunset. Make my hands respect the things that you have made, and my ears sharp to hear your voice. Make me wise so that I may know the things that you have taught your children, the lessons that you have hidden in every leaf and rock. Make me strong, not to be superior to my brothers, but to be able to fight my greatest enemy, myself. Make me ever ready to come to you with straight eyes, so that when life fades as a faded sunset, my spirit will come to you without shame. Translated by Lakota Sioux Chief Yellow Lark in 1887. Gail Minogue has researched and applied ancient sciences, including sacred geometry, to real-world challenges for over 25 years to help individuals excel in rapidly changing times. A published authority in the symbolic relationship of numbers to our lives, she combines many disciplines to deliver a practical understanding of trends and events, past, present, and future. By understanding the various ancient cycles and by observing the modern day cycles, Gail has the ability to connect seemingly disconnected events and present the greater picture of our times. She pulls materials from ancient cycles related to timing and structures and connects them to current events that will produce a future result. Gail, with that, I will welcome you.
First of all, my last name is pronounced Minogue as in brogue, because it is Irish. And there's such a complication to my topic today to do in 15 minutes, but I will try to get the big picture and then the finite and the infinite picture. And of course, we are here to grow, learn, and explain ourselves here while we're working here and learning free will choice and working with emotional energy. That's the two things we get to do here, is use free will choice and work with emotional energy. Now, the times we're passing through are very much cyclical. This big period we're in right now that started in 2008 is ongoing to 2024, which is the big Pluto in Capricorn. But there's a bigger cycle going on, and we are actually doing, if you look at the great year, which is 24,000 years long, you will understand that as we've reached the bottom, or what we'll call the Iron Age or the Dark Age, and we're just really coming out of it. And so we are behaving very much like going between barbarianism and civilization. And so you see pockets of both going on as we try to ascend after 12,000 years of descending. So now we are ascending, and you have the big cycle, and then you have within that medium cycles, and then we have our own personal cycles. And one of the things you have to remember above all else here is you do not get attached here. You do not get attached to this place. This is one of the most important things to remember, that you're only here for approximately about 120 years, and you're learning how to use this energy and learn from it, and you will move on into other planes of consciousness. So looking at that, you can be in this world, but you're not of it. And never forget it, and it's all consciousness. So the time we're in now is very much a time of destruction and creation. And that's very big right now, because you're seeing it right now with this pandemic that has come through in an air sign of Gemini, which controls the lungs, and it had to be delivered through that passage. So we would go through a complete understanding of humanity, which is forcing us to do that, whether we like it or not. And it's also having to connect with the collective versus the individual. So we are coming out, one of the shorter cycles that I'll look at for you is this age of Aquarius that began approximately the same time of the birth of the United States. And the United States is the catalyst for the world to usher in this age. And its big job was always assimilation, and to teach and learn humanity to assimilate. So you find out you have these, I call them big tectonic plates bumping up against each other of an old age that was religion and dogma and compassion, and tool was fear, into an age of enlightenment, rational thinking, awareness, and all of that, which is what we're moving to as we ascend in the second half of the big great year, the 24,000 year cycle. So we have going on a time where we are ending this one cycle of 16 years that began in 2008 and goes to 2024, where government is powerful, corporate is powerful, and you're watching the beginning of the end. So 2020 is the big launch for the big, well, I'll say these destructive things that are going on. The pandemic is perfect because I will tell you, how else would we be able to get people's attention and wake it up? It wasn't waking up with economic problems. It wasn't waking up with other things. It is a big wake up. And one of the things that we have to do in the Aquarian age is to become more united as humans rather than seeing each other as just separate. And so it's a call for humanity is what this period is about. You see all the people who don't want to wear masks and then who want to keep their bars open. It's all very relevant to learning how to be an individual in a collective environment. So this is the big lesson of this, and this is a big lesson for the United States as the catalyst of change for the world. Its job is to teach assimilation. So right now it's the fight to go back to the past of the 50s and then to really continue forward and progress. And the tectonic plate will override all of the past, and that's the new age coming in that you're experiencing. So it's stressful, but it's perfect. Everything here is perfect. So we don't want to complain too much about this or that or everything. It's all perfect. Don't get so attached to this place. Understand you are in this world, but you're not of it. You can use it, but you can't depend upon it. Because all these man-made laws constantly change. So you always want to know universal principles, universal laws. So it's very practical, and it brings it down to everyday right now. The United States as a catalyst of change, you're part of the change agents being in the United States right now, and those who were either got here through a boat or an airport, or they were born here, it doesn't matter. This is a hothouse. And of course the hothouse for the United States is California. They both have 5 life paths. They both are agent of change, one for the world, one for the United States, and that's California. So this country is progressive, but it's fighting to overcome the old. So that's just one cycle going on. And then you have your own individual lives that have cycles. And when we are born and we take our first breath, we're magnetized by the planetary alignment at that moment in time. So say you were born, August the 1st, you had a sun in Leo, but you had constellations set up at that time, and that is called your energy package, and you will use it the entire time you're here. And you have a cycle that fits with that. You have a structure that fits inside, and that's your sacred geometric fixture, or your sacred contract, you say, or your destiny, your purpose. It's all there. Everything is there. You came in perfectly, divinely, even if you don't like your name of date of birth. It's all there.
Huh.
So and a lot of people, they hate their names. And I said, it's fine. You just needed the code. You needed that code that is behind those letters or behind those characters. The energy behind them is what you want to know. Everything moves through the sound energy of that. So we have our own personal cycles within our life and our blueprints. And then we have these America's cycle, which she's going through. And then you have a global cycle that we're in a 4 universal year, which is not fun. It is about practicality. And if anything I can say to you, have plan E, B, C, A, D, have plans set in place now, practically. And what would you do? I wrote a couple of things down here. If you had to live on your income drops, okay? What new opportunities are out there for you? Where can you cut back? What do you need to focus on? Everything has changed. There's going to be a repricing of everything. That means houses, cars, refrigerators. The general trend forward is repricing. So it is a practical time, but it is a wonderful time because we're learning to connect with humanity. And if we can connect with humanity, we can take care of the earth. But we can't even, when I always, I look at obituaries quite a bit, and I like to see how long they stayed. How long did a person stay here? And a blueprint's 120 years, but from 60 to 90, most people don't have any plans like career plans or anything. But for heaven's sakes, if we have plans, we stay longer. We know that. So if you have plans from 60 to 90 and then 90 to 120, who plans that? But that's what we're supposed to be doing. So we have to work on our own personal cycles. We have to work on our own, as I was saying, I read obituaries, see how long people stayed. And the other thing that you see, we get a notice in the paper if somebody had an automobile accident, and they'll say, Bob Jones, for instance, um, was a salesperson from blah, 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 was hit by a car, but they never say Bob Jones, one of us. It's never one of us. So we need to understand how we connect with us humans and how we connect in general. So the bigger picture going on here is this ascension into the Bronze Age, into the Silver Age, into the Gold Age that you have heard about. It does exist, and that's where we're ascending, and we cannot come out of that military industrial complex of the Iron Age or the Dark Age, whatever you want to call it. Also, where it was very, very masculine. The number 2 of the year 2000 launched 1,000 years of the rise and power of the female. And then when you go into the I Ching and you look at the Book of Days and you look at the Jupiter for the Feng Shui, you will see that we're now entering in 2024 the Li period, or the Li period, and that is the middle-aged woman or the middle daughter. So the representation now will be this will be the power. This is where the power of leadership comes. That's why you're seeing all the 20 years of preparation going on now for this period that launches in 2024. So it's a fabulous, I mean, there's good stuff ahead. We just got to get out of the 20s. The 20s is tumultuous, very tumultuous. The next 3 years are very tumultuous. I don't care who gets elected. The person is going to go through a lot, and we're all going to go through a lot, whoever is elected, because that's what we're supposed to do. We are cleaning up. You remember, when you look back in history and you see the East India Company, it set up a form for about 500 years of how a capitalist system works. That's what we've been still following for the last 500 years, is how the premise of the East Indian Company operated. This is also being changed. So there's this strong fight of capitalism and socialism and all that kind of stuff. But it's really about how do we perfect a support system now that's going to work better for humanity, whether it's the earth or the health. Where are our focuses? Where is our focus going to be? So it's a time of tumultuous disruption, but it's to create a greater life for us all, and that will be ushering in 2024. So the next 3 years are somewhat it's like you can't predict anything during this period because it has to go through these changes. So the next 3 years, a lot of change, no matter what your own blueprint is, but your blueprint will guide you through this if you understand it and know your timing. And the other thing too is to not go into fear. That's the old teaching tool of the prior age. You don't want to go into fear at all. And so we look forward, because once we get later into the 20s, you're going to see such a renewal, my goodness, of so many things, of how we live, how we work, because we are very tied to a model that came from the 1800s about work. And so that's all changing now. Everything's changing. So the biggest thing to really realize is do not get into fear. It's a bigger purpose for all of this, and that is connecting humanity, and stop seeing that it's just being an individual is strong and do that. It's in the collective that we must focus. We must learn to focus. And these cycles will take us that, so we respect the earth, we respect other humans, we respect the animals, and on, and we actually can communicate with them all. That's where we're going, and into that golden age. And it sounds corny, but believe me, it is going to be here. You just have to return again if you want to come back here, and up to you, because we choose everything before we're born and come in to work this out. Everyone knows their purpose. They just don't bother to look and see and understand. Another thing, and I'll leave you with this: stop concentrating on the how. Concentrate on the what. Concentrate on the what. Understand how to work with divine assistance. Always ask, but understand you are to know the what, because you have been given the free will choice here. So you are to choose. Don't ask them to choose for you, and allow them to work out the how. You choose the what. And that's the clearest thing to concentrate on, I believe, and to not get so attached here. So you can let things go, let things leave, people, stuff, everything. I've talked my 15 minutes, I believe. I think.
Yes,
At
thank
least.
you. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. Thank you so much.
Thank
What,
you.
not how. Do our co-hosts have any comments or questions?
In your talk, you talked about not concentrating on the how, but concentrating on the what. Could you give us an example, please?
Okay, thank you for asking that, because in working with many, many clients, and they're always looking for the most part of their purpose. What's my purpose here? Why did I come here? And all of that. And basically they're trying to figure out the how. But they have been given free will choice. And so our job here is to choose. We're always a choice. And it's not to be palmed off to someone else to choose. We are to choose. So we need to know the what. What do we want? What is our expectation of ourself? What is our goal? What is our dream? What is what? Most people do not concentrate on the what, they concentrate on the how. How can I save myself from 5G? Versus letting the universe know, because you have to work with divine wisdom in this all the time. You really combine your wisdom with divine wisdom. And what can I do? What should I know to protect myself? And allow that to come to you, and allow that answer to be there for you, versus how do I protect myself, blah, blah, blah. Because one of the things is like, what should I do for work? Or what do I do now that I've lost my job? How do I pay the mortgage? How do I do this? And so people get into the how of it. How do I pay the mortgage? How do I work out this? How do I do that? Instead of being very clear, this is what I want, this is what I'm going for, this is what I need. And I expect divine assistance. I literally use it as a business partner, this divine wisdom. And it will assist me, and it always has, it always will. My job is to let it know what I want, what I need right now, and be very clear. And most people are not. They're out in the weeds somewhere. They're trying to figure out how we do this, how we do that. And so it's really partnering up with the divine wisdom. It will give you answers. It's always divine wisdom. And our job is to know what we want, what are we doing, not how do we do it. That's my how.
I couldn't agree more. Thanks, though. Examples are great for everybody.
One of the things that I will say, and this happens early in the game, is that this is what I want to manifest. And I always mention at least. I always say at least 10, 20, whatever I need, 1,000, whatever I need, at least. And I am doing my part. I am doing my part day by day, do everything. And I expect divine assistance to meet my financial obligations. It is clear. It is so clear. And that's what we need to do, is be very clear. If we're afraid of something, it's like the worst thing for us is to be in fear of it. What do we need now? What do we need to do? What do I need to do to protect myself? Boom, boom, boom. We get into the what, not the how.
Thank you so much, Gail.
Regarding Mother Earth is that one of the ways to cleanse negativity is through fire, floods, earthquake, volcano. It cleanses, and Mother Earth also gets rid of her drones. And these are inevitably people who continue to return here and do not grow. And so there's no accidents where we're born and how long and all of that, but Mother Earth will get rid of her drones. It just happens over and over again. You just watch it over ancient times. So it is a cleansing process when you see a fire or when you see a flood, or when you see any of these cataclysmic earthquakes and volcanoes erupt. It's getting rid of negative energy.
And Gail, let me ask you, so can you speak a little more about the drones? I've never heard of that before.
I know, nobody's hear about the drones, because drones you think of just, Amazon delivery packages or real estate agents going over backyards. But the drone, the intention of not these drones, but basically repetitive lives returning here, not really growing, not really, what I'll say, progressing, on Mother Earth gets rid of them. So this is a growing hothouse here of creation, this place. And so it's something that, nobody speaks about it. But it is very interesting if you really start to go into the process of cleansing the earth and getting rid of drones or getting rid of entire civilizations. And that's what has happened. We just don't have anything current, and we can't even go there where we can even process over the last, say, 10,000 years, which is a very short blip of time, where en masse groups will leave. But it's very common when you get into some work with reincarnation and cleansing the earth and getting rid of negativity and getting rid of the drones who continue to return here and just do not advance, because this is a privilege to get here. Nobody thinks of that this way because they think it's just nothing but suffering here. It is a privilege because the growth is so intense and accelerated here, and it's free will choice and working with emotional energy. And people don't like to choose because they're afraid, and they get very emotional, and so everything has an emotional charge. So I don't want to get into all the reincarnation stuff, but it's just part of that package of cleansing this earth. And it's very ancient. I mean, we understand that there's been so many civilizations that have come and gone and advanced, continue to advance. We are advancing right as we sit here in my office. I hope I am anyway.
Thank you, Gail Minogue, for that wonderful discussion about free will choice and working with emotional energy as we transition through this time of destruction and creation to usher in a new age.